Lamar Jackson was throwing dimes to iShowSpeed. We got Ravens salary cap updates, Kyle Hamilton contract details, and we're going to talk about some of the most underrated Baltimore Ravens. All that and more in today's episode of the Flock Rundown.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. So we got some salary cap updates and some Kyle Hamilton contract details. We'll start with the details of Kyle Hamilton's contract. We knew the overall numbers, but we have a year-by-year breakdown thanks to Brian McFarland. So here's the contract breakdown. In 2025, the cap hit's going to be $8.7 million. 2026, it's going to be $10.6 million. 2027, $26 million. 2028, $26 million, 2029, $27.9 million, and 2030, $24.6 million. Pretty heavy dead money years all throughout the contract besides the 2030 year, which is only $3.6 million, but I highly doubt the Ravens would want to get out of that contract at that point. If anything, the Ravens would probably be already trying to extend Kyle Hamilton again or have already extended Kyle Hamilton again by 2030, so I really don't think a lot of these dead cap numbers are that relevant just because I don't think that with Kyle Hamilton's age and how good he is that the Ravens are ever going to be trying to get out of this deal or move on from Kyle Hamilton. And I think those cap numbers are pretty reasonable. I mean, we have a low cap hit this year and next year for that contract. And then, yeah, it goes up to 26, 27 million, actually drops a little bit to 24 million in 2030. I mean, that's 3 years from now when it starts to really go high. We have a ton of time to plan for that. The salary cap is also increasing by a wide margin year after year. I don't think that a $26, $27 million cap hit for your best player on defense is going to be that expensive. I mean, look what Micah Parsons just got. Micah Parsons just got paid $47 million per year. I'll take Kyle Hamilton for half that, and I just really think the Ravens got a bargain on this deal. I know it sounds expensive. I know he blew the safety market out of the water, but in the long run, this is one of the best defensive players in football that's locked up for under 30 million, well under 30 million. The cap hit never gets bigger than 27 million. So I think this is a team-friendly deal, weirdly enough. This is a team-friendly cap hit structure, but also Kyle Hamilton gets everything that he desires and becomes, the highest paid player. Not that that's exactly what he wanted, but I'm just saying he does get what he earned and becomes the highest paid safety by a wide margin, especially in guaranteed money. And the Ravens really were generous with the signing bonus and the guaranteed money. And I think the cap hits really are workable, so the Ravens can still sign some other guys. There's going to be a lot of strategy that needs to be deployed by Eric DeCosta and his team because it is not easy to sign all of those free agents. I talked about those extensions in yesterday's video. There's a ton of free agents that we're going to have to sign some of them. There's a lot of key guys. You can't lose everybody. And I think there's some important guys to hold on to, like Tyler Linderbaum, Travis Jones. Obviously, rework the Lamar deal. Isaiah Likely needs to stay. There's some strategy involved in these cap numbers so that we don't go over or have to really cut some important players if we're out of salary cap room. So I think Eric DeCosta is doing a good job managing this. Looking at these cap hit numbers, they're just not that bad, man. I think this is perfect. This is a perfect scenario for Kyle Hamilton and the Ravens. And with Kyle Hamilton's extension and the signing of all 17 practice squad players, the Ravens are currently still under the cap $1.8 million. This doesn't count the Guillory and Quinn Koo injury settlements, which shouldn't total no more than $400,000 or $500,000. But other than that, the Ravens are approximately $1.8 million under the salary cap still. So that's obviously not a ton of money. Not that the Ravens really need to go sign anyone else. If the Ravens do want to go sign somebody for more than that cap hit this year, then they're going to have to clear a little bit of cap room, which they still have a ton of options to do. They could always rework Roquan Smith's contract. That Lamar Jackson extension will save us short-term cap room. You could rework Matt Abike's extension. There's so many deals that could free up some cap room. I just don't think the Ravens have to do that. We went pretty aggressive with void years already in the offseason. I like the roster we got, at least for now. If we need to add a vet in a certain position as time goes, if we need to make a trade, that'll unveil itself as the season goes, and we'll start to see some weaknesses, or maybe a spot gets really banged up and we get thin at that spot and we need to add more resources there. Like, I think that we should just stay pat right now, man. I know Clowney's out there. I know Justin Simmons is out there. I'm not against adding those guys. I just think that the Ravens have everything they need on the roster right now. The NFL season is finally here, and this year I've teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook to bring you an incredible offer. If you're a new customer, you can bet just $5 and get $300 instantly in bonus bets. That's right. Sign up, place a $5 wager, and DraftKings will give you $300 in bonus bets to use right away. Just make sure you sign up using my promo code TFR. DraftKings Sportsbook is for players 21 and older and available in most states. Please gamble responsibly, and when you do sign up, make sure you use code TFR to get your $300 in bonus bets. Yesterday, Lamar Jackson was on iShowSpeed's stream. He's doing a Tour of America stream, and this is, the biggest stream in the world right now. iShowSpeed's pulling more numbers than pretty much anybody out there. So Lamar Jackson being on there is awesome, just to get that type of viewership. And I know a bunch of the kids love Lamar already too, but Lamar deserves all the eyes in the world, man. And he was out there in Florida throwing passes to iShowSpeed, had a couple dimes too, man. It was a pretty fun stream. If you haven't watched it, you can go watch the full highlights of it.
Just caught a pass from Lamar Jackson, y'all. Oh, yeah. Whew, that was a good-ass throw.
I can run, boy. You might have to sign up with us, man. Get you a contract with the Ravens or something, man.
Listen. Easily.
Easily? Yeah, what position? Receiver?
Receiver, I'm taking anybody's spot.
Yeah? I don't know, man. We got them guys, man. We got Zay, Fade.
Look, my speed is over all of that.
Yeah?
Yes.
I don't know, man. I have to come to Baltimore, dog.
Speed asked him to race. He said he was faster than Lamar. Lamar said he doesn't race and wouldn't race, so we didn't really get to see Lamar run or anything like that, but his arm looked phenomenal. He had a couple deep throws that were on the money, hit Speed in stride with a corner cover, and I know it's just backyard football, but this is what we got right now. It's still a week and a half until the Buffalo game, and it's just cool to see Lamar out there on the biggest stream in the world, getting the most views possible, millions and millions of views, and so that only helps his brand, but also just cool for us Ravens fans to see him out there on a football field throwing passes. So it's worth watching, man. I think it was a pretty cool segment, some good content. I saw a few comments of Ravens fans discussing the most underrated players on the team, and it really got me thinking. We don't give a lot of praise to some of the underrated guys. That's why they're underrated. We're always talking about the main guys on the team or just the rookies that we're excited about and everyone that has a lot of hype. But I want to talk about some guys that don't have a lot of hype that I think contribute a ton to this team. And I'll start with Tavius Robinson. I think he's one of the most underrated players that's going to have a huge role. And you saw that by him not even playing in the preseason at all. He didn't even dress for the entire preseason. He's still a young guy. But Tavius plays a huge role for this team, especially stopping the run, setting the edge. This guy's physical in there, man. He plays like a Raven. We throw that out there for only guys that really are getting that physical and playing mean football, to be honest with you. Playing with an attitude, playing, like you ain't got nothing to lose and all you want to do is win. And I think he plays with that mentality. He's got that dog mentality. He's physical on the football field. And I'm excited to see what he adds to his pass rush game. I heard him talking about that this offseason, and that would be the next step from him, is to be consistently getting pressure on the quarterback. And I think if he was getting more sacks and getting consistent pressure on the quarterback with some dominant pass rush moves, people would be talking about him more and he wouldn't be so underrated. But even what he does right now without expanding his pass rush ability, this guy is an underrated Raven that people just don't talk about enough, man. What he does in the run game is so important, and he's one of the most stable guys out there. He makes the right decisions. He's not getting caught looking or blowing his assignment and being in the wrong place. He plays physical and makes the right decisions and knows what to do, and that's probably a testament to his work ethic. We heard the coaches rave about that this offseason. I think John Harbaugh said he's never never missed a day. He's never called off. He's never missed a day. He's always there. He's always the first one in there, last one out, that type of guy. And I'm just excited to see the evolution of Tavius Robinson, because I do think that he's going to be a lot more talked about and a bigger name than he is right now. But right now, I still think that he's really underrated. And then a guy on offense that goes underrated consistently year after year is Justice Hill. This guy, in the pass protection game and the receiving back game, and as a running back too, I do not want to underrate his running back ability either. I mean, he's such a good change of pace back. I know a lot of us are excited for Keaton Mitchell to be that change of pace back, and I think he will do some of that for sure, but Keaton is not going to be as involved as Justice Hill. I mean, Justice Hill's another guy that didn't play at all in the preseason. And what he does from a pass protection standpoint and what he does out of the backfield as a receiver, I think is so important, man. Maybe we sprinkle Keaton Mitchell a little bit more in there. I think he could do some of that stuff too that Justice Hill's doing, but Justice Hill has evolved into an incredible, valuable football player. And early on in his career, he necessarily was not that. It wasn't like Justice Hill in his first few years was this guy. I think he really took the game seriously and progressed at a quick level. I remember a couple years ago when the Ravens gave him an extension, I was like, that's not something they usually do unless you've proven yourself and are going to establish a serious role. And he did, man. And he's not one of those guys that's going to, go off and be a great fantasy player every week or have a ton of stats. But I'm just talking about what he does, when Derrick Henry's off the field, or even maybe this year when Derrick Henry's on the field with him too. But he spells Derrick Henry when he needs a break. He's a nice change of pace back. He's a great pass protector. This is, a guy who's not getting blown up by pressure coming. We talk about, the offensive line needing to protect Lamar. The running backs also have to protect Lamar. That's a responsibility of the guy who's in there, especially on third down when everyone knows we're passing. Justice Hill's standing there and eat a block, man. And I just can't say enough about him, and I think he's super valuable, even though he's not going to be praised or talked about like a Derrick Henry, and I totally get that he's not Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry should get all that praise, but I wanted to highlight some of the underrated guys, and I really feel like Tavius Robinson on defense and Justice Hill on offense just aren't talked about enough, and they are really behind the scenes stars kind of for the Ravens. That's it for today, guys. Just wanted to come on here, go over some updates, go over the salary cap and Kyle Hamilton's contract details. Let me know what you're thinking about everything that we talked about. Appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens Flock. Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. So I'm telling you now, it's about to go down. The podcast, the Flock Rundown. Ravens, baby. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly.